I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, I have no.
Okay, this is the donor chassis from the original green radio, and it donated its second part. Actually, it donated its first part, which is the filter cap. I want to rebuild this filter cap for the new chassis, the pink radio chassis. And in this particular version, the clock, they use the same circuit board for both the plain radios and the clock radios. With the clock radios, they added a cap that had 3 capacitors in it. A multi-cap had 3 capacitors. This one only has 2. Let's see if we can read those. It's a Motorola part, and there's a 50 microfarad, 150 volt, and then the 30 in here. Only 2 cap pins coming out the end. So that's what I'm going to work on restuffing, because you can't just hang a bunch of caps under here like you could in an old tube radio chassis. There's no room. There's nothing under there. You could stack them up on top, but that would look like crap. So I'm not going to do that. I will attempt to rebuild this can. But first, I thought I'd take my cheap ESR meter, my $12 ESR meter, and see what it says about this this cap that was in the original radio. And I never got to hear whether it had a hum because the output transformer was bogus. So let's see what happens here. The ground clip. And we'll check the, let's see, the square one is which one? Square one is the 50 microfarad. Oh, by square I mean that square right there. It's a square symbol and a triangle symbol. So I'll put that on there, push the blue button, testing, testing. It says it now is 64.56 microfarads. It has an ESR value of 2.1 ohms, which isn't bad actually, and the loss of 2.9%, voltage drop 2.9%. Now this doesn't mean anything because this is a 9-volt battery running this meter, and there's a 150 volt cap, so that V-loss value is worthless. But the other two are probably pretty close. That's the auto off feature. And let's check the other side. This is the triangle, which should be a 30 microfarad. Push the button. Testing. Okay, it says it's a 34 picofarad cap, which is even ridiculous. And the interesting thing is this meter says it's hooked between pin 2 and 3 of the input. Well, this is the input right here, and the input's actually between 1 and 3, as it was on the other side of this cap. So that means that one, the 30 microfarad cap, is badly damaged and out of service entirely. No surprise. No surprise. It's probably true with the cap set and the pink radio as well. So the challenge is to restuff this, and I know there are a couple of ways to do it. One is to pry this rim, this fold of aluminum up and then pull the insides out. The other is to leave that alone and to cut right along the seam around the outside, pull the can off, and then restuff it and epoxy it back down, which is a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm leaning toward that one just because it's neater. I've never seen, I mean, they're successfully restuffed when these are pried up, but they never look good. And this sits, when it's in the circuit board, it actually sits above, you know, that much of it's visible. Like that. All of it's visible, so I think that would be ugly. On the other hand, I'd be just as ugly to epoxy that edge. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But when I do, I'll show you what I did. Well, what I've decided to do with this is, rather than cutting it off, because I just don't like the looks of that seam there. So what I'll do is pry the aluminum up with my teensy screwdriver and my solder picker. So I've never done this before, so this should be exciting or interesting or one of those things. So I'm going to just speed this up so you don't have to sit through all this.
Okay, this is my old shop knife. Whenever I need a knife and I don't care about ruining it, and it's probably going to ruin the blade. I don't care about ruining the blade on this. I've ruined it multiple times. I'm just make sure I get it in there. Find a point of purchase. Without cutting my finger off.
Okay, I made it all the way around. I'll use my pliers and straighten this up. What I found was once I got it pried up with a blade, I could use this tool and just work it around, prying gently. And using this doesn't tear it up very badly like it did initially. On the other hand, you can be wounded pretty simply, so be careful. I don't advise this for anybody else, because I don't want to be responsible for stabbing yourself, particularly doing this. All I could visualize was sticking that into my hand. Anyway, I didn't, thank goodness. Oops, sorry. Now I'll just pry this up a little bit more on the way around. Okay, and this steel thing should come out. Anyway, this is the negative terminal for both caps that are in this can, and these are the leads for the two capacitors. Again, it's a 30 and a 50. The 50 is the square lead, the 30 is the triangular lead. I don't see anything else that needs to be done here. So what I'll try to do, what I'll try to do now is fit the blade down around the edge of this brown material, which is plastic or fiberboard, phenolic, don't know which. Anyway, I'll try to fit a blade around there and see if that will come loose. In the old days, these were filled with tar. I don't know if they were still using tar by the early 60s. Other videos I've seen, there's this kind of white substance in there that is the electrolytic. Oh, guess what? It's tar.
But that ain't the way I heard it.
Yep, definitely. There's a plastic layer. Yeah, interesting. It looks like it's under there. Curious. Well, we don't need it. Won't need it. Okay, the next step is to get some heat on here and melt that stuff out. It almost looks like rubber. I think it's not tar. I think that's rubber. It's like they poured a tub of liquid rubber in there and it solidified. Tar is hard when you tap on it, and this yields. And it's pretty easy to pierce too. So this is some kind of liquid rubber. So I'll stop here and get some heat on this and see if this pulls free. So the heat doesn't seem to have done anything. Could be I just didn't get it hot enough. So I began to scrape away at this rubber, and it's a layer sitting right on top of something else, which is, oops, right there. So it feels like another piece of fiberboard in there. Ah, there it is. And there it is. I'll be darned. So it's just like a filled rubber layer over top of another phenolic board that seals the top. So they're the two leads. I'll have to unsolder these because I want to keep them. Looks like, in fact, they're not soldered on there. Yeah, They're pressed on right here. They might be soldered as well, but they're certainly pressed on right there. But there are the two caps. And the residue inside that tube itself, which is also rubberish. So I'll have to clean that out. Or not, depends on how much room I need. As Mr. Anderson said, cleaning these things out requires a lot of solvents, which don't want to put any more of that into the atmosphere than we have to, I guess. So I may just clean off the loose stuff and leave it as is. Okay, so now I'll desolder these, or pry them off, and then pitch this. I might take it apart. We'll see. We'll see. Rather than trying to desolder these things, I decided to just cut them off. I can maybe use that post anyway on the bottom, but here's the rubber bit. And there's the structure of the caps, and they're, as usual, rolled up paper with electrolytic substance of some kind in between. I don't know if I can cut that. Oh, yeah. So if you ever want to make a cap, there you go. This is metallized, I think. Yeah, so this is for the larger capacitor, I presume, because it has more area. And then this is the smaller of the two. So, the capacitor. There you go. I think I'll just cut this off. The steel ring is all I need. I'll save this aluminum strip for the moment. Don't know whether I'll need it in the reassembly or not. Well, that was educational. To an extent. Alright, now I'll check my stock and see if I've replaced it. Okay, originally this calls for a 30 and a 50 at 150 volts. And I don't have a 30 and a 50, I have two 47s. And I hope 247s will fit in there. We'll see. Not that way. Boy. Just not quite. Okay, well, there's another project on hold until I get some more caps. Shoot. I was hoping they'd be short enough, maybe they could stack in this way, but they really aren't. It's coming up too close to the edge, I think. This has to go back on there and be sealed in. Rats. Okay. All right. I'll come back when I've got something that'll fit in there.